From the headquarters of Telesur English in Quito, Ecuador, I am Estefania Bravo, and this is From the South. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro will officially be registered as a candidate for the April 22nd elections on Tuesday. Ahead of that, Maduro won the backing of the Communist Party of Venezuela, which signed with Maduro's United Socialist Party. The two parties sealed an agreement to strengthen the development of the Bolivarian Revolution and socialism in the country. The deal includes measures for alleviating social struggles, the protection of workers, and the evaluation of social, economic, and political actions. The Communist Party was founded in 1931 to represent the working class and peasants. Tuesday marks the end of the registration period for candidates. Freddie Gillingham breaks down what we know so far.
Venezuela's CNE began the process of formalizing nominations for this year's presidential election, with President Nicolas Maduro expected to put himself forward on Tuesday. The first to step forward, representing the UPP-89 party, was Reinaldo Quijada. He and his party are among 12 political parties eligible to participate in April. But with the country's opposition bloc, better known as the MUD, threatening to boycott, candidates like Quijada may have a better chance than expected.
We are committed to recognizing the 2018 presidential election results, whatever the outcome, as established within the Democratic Coexistence Agreement. So we suggest that all candidates submit an official written commitment to the agreement.
So far, the MUD coalition remains more divided than ever on whether to head to the polls. Three of its largest parties decried the election date, calling it fraudulent, despite months of negotiations in the Dominican Republic. Much of the international media are now focusing on a part of the opposition who have decided to boycott the vote on April 22nd. But from today, we can now see that there are still some who still believe in the democratic process. The accepted nominations will be announced by the CNE on Friday. Freddie Gillingham, Telesur, Caracas.
Ahead of elections, Venezuela put on a show of its military forces. President Nicolas Maduro presided over the Bolivarian National Armed Forces as they performed drills. He also said cooperation agreements have been put in place with China, Iran, Belarus, Turkey, and soon India. Venezuela will work with these countries to test new weapon technologies to protect Venezuela's peace, stability, and sovereignty. We go to Colombia, where the armed group National Liberation Army, or ELN, has announced a new ceasefire that will start just in time for the legislative elections scheduled for March 11th. The armed group said they will stop all offensive military operations from March 9th as a gesture of respect for the Colombian voters. The ELN also expressed their will to begin a new round of peace talks with the government in the hope of a long-standing peace agreement.
Both sides hope to restart the peace talks and reach a better ceasefire agreement. Their prerequisite is that we should ceasefire first, and we have agreed to that. However, we hope it will not be unilateral.
2 weeks to the polls, and there are already concerns about legitimacy. The former mayor of Bogota, who is the favorite in the presidential polls, warned there is a risk of massive fraud. He is concerned the decision to not digitize the results of the election could undermine transparency. Plus, there are no safeguards to ensure the process meets international standards.
Aquí tenemos un camino construido.
We have here a path built violating the law that leads us to massive fraud with no way to check or guard against, not by the press, not by political movements, not by the international observers that will come, because the count is no longer traceable.
Caribbean leaders have gathered in Haiti to discuss a wide range of topics from climate change to corruption, EU sanctions, and economic development of the region. At the annual CARICOM summit, the incoming chairman and president of Haiti urged the region to abide by international climate commitments. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago called for the development of a counterterrorism strategy for the region. Laura Prada is in Port-au-Prince for the summit and brings us the very latest.
Hello, nice to greet you indeed. We continue here at the Hotel Marriott Port-au-Prince in Haiti, where is taking place the 29th intersessional meeting of heads of state and government of CARICOM. The inauguration ceremony just finished and they are now working on closed doors, but the main topics repeated on this opening ceremony were the need of the importance of this political concentration space, and especially working on an action plan that is liable for to work and to prevent climate change and risk prevention of disasters. Also, they call to maintain a close position of CARICOM in all topics they agree when they meet. This is what has been happening here so far. They also talked about the need to work together throughout the region to promote economy and development of the region. Also, they talked about the free movement and the facilities needed for the region and the Caribbean to be connected. This is all what has been going on that I know will continue in touch.
Delegates from Mexico, Canada, and the United States met in Mexico City to discuss the NAFTA renegotiation. During the 7th round of debate, the three nations discussed rules of origin and salaries. Success at this meeting will be the key to deciding the agenda for the next round of negotiations in Washington, D.C. Eduardo Martinez has the latest.
The 7th round of NAFTA negotiations continues between Mexico, Canada, and the United States in Mexico City. This new round is said to be one of the toughest since the negotiations started last year, and delegates from the three countries are trying to find an agreement that will allow them to reach the next meeting set to happen in Washington, D.C. They are discussing the rules of origin, investment, commerce, and the rules that need to be set so that the trade between the three nations continues. We cannot forget that the NAFTA agreement has been questioned, since for many there haven't been the expected results that were promised after its signing in 1993. The United States has pushed the debate on the uncompetitive salaries in Mexico, saying they are too low in relation to those paid in Canada or the United States. Mexican authorities have said they will not give in, since for them this is one of the measures to maintain economic stability and avoid inflation. The delegates from each country are expected to announce the progress made during this new round of talks, although experts say the NAFTA negotiation has reached 60%.
We'll take a short break now. Join us again after this look at what our multimedia colleagues are reporting.
Est-ce qu'il y a des librairies au Nigeria?
Je pense que cela reflète assez mal sur les Français que vous ayez à me poser une telle question. Je suis vraiment honnête avec vous. Parce que, vous savez, on est en 2018 quand même.
On parle très peu, sûrement pas assez, d'un pays comme le Nigeria. Quand on parle du Nigeria, on parle de Boko Haram. Quand on parle du Nigeria, on parle de problèmes de violence, des problèmes de sécurité.
Welcome back. Peru's President Pedro Pablo Kuczynski has arrived to Colombia to take part on the 4th Binational Cabinet meeting. Kuczynski landed in the coastal city of Cartagena. The meeting will focus on achieving better regional integration. The two sides are also evaluating the impact of the political and economic situation in Venezuela. Plus, they are working towards including Ecuador in this bilateral effort. El Salvador is gearing up for elections, which will be held on Sunday. Mayoral candidates have made their last-ditch attempt to lure voters ahead of the polls.
FMLN's candidate, Jacqueline Rivera, says she's ready to win. Her municipal government plan puts safety, cleanliness and order first. She also promises to work with the youth and highlight the city's feminine side.
This party is the one with most female participation. Citizen participation has grown with the FMLN, and it's with us that the participation processes have been developed for real people.
On the other side, mayoral candidate Ernesto Mason, representing the Arena Party, has been questioned for holding meetings with gang members during 2014's elections. Today, a recent digital media article also linked him with the same activity. This was his reaction.
Are you still in touch with gangs and criminal groups?
I'm not answering that.
San Salvador City Hall is where political parties are all trying to get to, because every social group in the country is linked to it, in one way or another.
The country's economic, political, and academic issues are addressed in there. It is the center of every activity. It is the heart of El Salvador. The biggest population live in the capital.
On the 4th of March, 262 mayors will be elected, as well as 84 deputies for the Legislative Assembly. They will represent their voters from 2018 until 2021.
In Brazil, Michel Temer has consolidated several security agencies into a new ministry. He has also picked a new man to helm that division. Adriana Robreño looks at the new top brass.
Hola, saludos para ti, para todas las.
President Michel Temer today signed a provisional decree that creates the Ministry of Public Safety. According to the president's spokesperson, the man in charge of this ministry will be Raúl Jungmann, who previously served as defense minister. Taking his place will be Joaquim Silva de Lula, an active duty general. The new Ministry of Public Safety will be in charge of the Federal Police, the Traffic Police, the National Penitentiary Department, and the Office of Public Safety, which had all been under the command of the Ministry of Justice. Congress will ratify this measure within 60 days, but this act will be official as soon as it's published on the government's official journal. In fact, the swearing-in of the new ministers is already being planned for next Tuesday. According to Temer, the Ministry of Public Safety is a temporary measure meant to share intelligence between agencies. This all comes as Rio de Janeiro finds itself under military intervention. President Temer, whose approval rating stands below 10%, is believed to want to push this public safety agenda as a way to improve his public image, despite the fact that he said he doesn't plan to run in the upcoming elections.
Thank you, Adriana, for that report. In Peru, Keiko Fujimori, the daughter of former President Alberto Fujimori, will continue to be investigated for money laundering. The Peruvian justice system has rejected a request to close the case against her and her husband. The court said it will continue the inquiry for a maximum period of 36 months. Keiko is being investigated for campaign contributions allegedly granted by Brazilian conglomerate Odebrecht, which is a myriad corruption scandal. Keiko leads Popular Force, the biggest party in Peru. In Chile, 5 people were arrested for their role in a pro-Mapuche demonstration in Santiago. The rally was aimed to support the Mapuche spiritual leader Lama Chilinconao and Mapuche political prisoners who they believe have been illegally detained. Chilean security forces shut down the demonstrations with water cannons. In Ecuador, a debate is underway about the impact of community media. Different organizations have come together to look at the preservation of other voices in mass media.
Community media struggle has become in Ecuador an example of community organization and resistance, like its Solidarity Radio located in Quito. Different Ecuadorian cultures work on this community who are fighting to conserve a regional identity.
It is focused on social aid to face rural issues. In the case of this radio, we don't focus on regular news, but on what the communities need.
Community media has created in Ecuador a space where any citizen can express themselves. As one of the main characters of Solidarity Radio, known as the Indian Manuel, who has been created this character for 45 years, preserving Ecuadorian traditions.
I'm grateful to the people, and not with the satisfaction of a job well done, but with the hope of making people laugh for years to come.
Ecuador's social organization, students, and journalists who worried about these issues have been held to discuss the democratization process of the community communication around the country. They recognize the advantage to have a community media in the country.
This is a response to the years of struggle of the marginalized people in Ecuador, of the community communicators.
The struggle for independent media is an ongoing fight to safeguard and improve on the communication law that for now gives community media a voice. Denise Herrera, Telesur, Quito, Ecuador.
In the Argentine province of Jujuy, the Minister of Health is proposing the collection of compulsory health insurance for foreigners visiting their territory.
Despite the fact that there are no official statistics proving the expense that might be incurred to the provincial budget for the care of foreign patients, Minister Gustavo Bohuid is promoting the collection of compulsory insurance for people visiting Jujuy who are not Argentines. The result will be prejudice against migrants, especially from bordering countries.
I cannot give you a precise number, but out of the 10 patients who attend the hospital, at least 6 of them are foreigners.
In our search for details and official data, we consulted Cesar Mulki from the Provincial Hospital Directorate of the Ministry of Health.
We don't have an exact number, and we still not have percentages. But from 2014 to 2017, there were nearly 60,000 foreign patients of all nationalities.
The Bolivian consulate says that issues raised by authorities aren't real.
Right now I can tell you very clearly, because I know from my own experience as a diplomat, that there's no free service for citizens who come as tourists. We have always received complaints that some people who come as tourists who felt ill had simply not been served by public hospitals here in Argentina, particularly in the province of Jujuy.
Lawyers, doctors, and medical staff all say that the government should not be looking at this in terms of profitability, but should be understanding health as a right, and that if the project continues, the impact could multiply.
If a patient is denied care, let's say with an infectious disease, just because they have not paid for insurance and because they have no way of treating it, this could have a major impact on dissemination of the disease.
The doctor also ensures that what will strengthen public health is the investment in the public health system with a larger budget.
The 20th Habano Festival featuring Cuban tobacco products is underway in Havana. The gathering, which recorded $500 million in sales last year, will feature 184 exhibitors from 20 countries. 2,000 people from 70 countries are expected to attend. Authorities pointed out that Washington's measures against Havana over the last 5 decades have not affected the performance of the Cuban cigar trade, nor did the passage of hurricanes during the recent storm season. We'll take a short break now. Join us again after this look at what our multimedia colleagues are reporting.
The RAISE Act ends chain migration and replaces our low-skilled system with a new points-based system for receiving a green card. Securing the border and a wall, Ending chain migration, ending chain migration. Chain migration is bringing in many, many people. Often it doesn't work out very well. Those many people are not doing us right.
Welcome back. Saudi Arabia has replaced its top military brass in a surprise announcement. The head of ground staff and the Air Force have been replaced by younger officers. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman called for reforms after a dismal performance by the military in the Yemen war in the last 3 years. Salman has also taken a series of steps to temper Saudi Arabia's conservative image. Last year, he made it legal for Saudi women to drive. Recently, he announced billions of dollars investment in the entertainment industry. Humanitarian aid groups in South Sudan have warned of another deadly famine. This is a result of more than 4 years of civil war that has left half of its people without food. According to the agencies and the United Nations, more people are set to run out of food in the coming months. An estimated 6.3 million people would be in crisis in the absence of all forms of humanitarian assistance.
This is a dire situation. The record number of people facing food insecurity, while at the same time we have crop production in the country going down every year for the past few years.
The pro-independent Catalan parliament has decided to pick Jordi Sanchez as a possible stand-in for the president. They are expected to present the agreement this Wednesday to combat Madrid's plans to make it difficult for them to rule, despite winning a democratic referendum.
The Council of Ministers approved the recourse before the Constitutional Court against the possible investigation of Charles Puigdemont as President of Catalonia. Meanwhile, the government of Mariano Rajoy continues with his plans despite the State Council, the highest consultative organism in the country, having positioned itself against this recourse, with the understanding that there are not sufficient motives to present this measure. Therefore, it will now be time for the Constitutional Court to make a decision which is extraordinarily complicated. Will they accept the recourse of the government, which may affect the credibility, or reject it? In what will be another failure of the Popular Party in the management of the crisis regarding Catalonia, the announcement from the State Council is actually a setback from the government, because this consultative organism understands that they cannot interject recourses in a preventative manner, something that has not happened in any other country in the region. Because of this, the party of Charles Puigdemont has announced a criminal action against Vice President Soraya Sáenz de Santamaría. The party maintains that the government of Mariano Rajoy has carried a coup d'etat in Catalonia.
Now let's have a look at some other stories from around the world.
A young investigative journalist in Slovakia and his girlfriend have been shot dead near the capital city of Bratislava. It is the first such killing in the country and fifth in the European Union in the last 10 years. 27-year-old Jan Kuciak worked on economic crimes and tax frauds linked to people in power. The local police have said his investigative work is most likely the motive behind the double murder. An unknown face in the boxing world, Van Heng Menayothin, a Thai boxer, is close to matching the undefeated 50-fight record held by famous American boxer Floyd Mayweather. He is only one win short of Mayweather's record. His 50th bout is in April against Panama's Leroy Estrada in Thailand. The 32-year-old boxer is nicknamed the Giant Dwarf for his powerful punches and winning streak.
I was a country boy. Boxing was a way to earn money. All my friends did boxing, so we practiced together and gained skills.
Taiwan's annual Lantern Festival has kicked off in the capital, Taipei. Strings of colorful lanterns are on display. As 2018 is the year of dog on the Chinese zodiac, a lot of dog-themed lanterns have been put up to celebrate the spring festivities. The star of the show is the lantern displayed called the Magical Dogs, representing Taiwan's spirit and its cultural heritage. The Lantern Festival marks the end of the Lunar New Year celebrations.
And we've come to the end of this morning's news brief. These and many other stories, you can find them on our website at telesurtv.net/English. And join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For Telesur English, I am Estefania Bravo. Thank you for watching.